Every morning at 8 o'clock sharp, Harold stepped out of his sleek black BMW, walked up to a tiny roadside flower cart, and handed over a $20 bill. The flower seller, a wrinkled old man named Elmer, would smile, give him a single rose, and quietly tuck the change back into Harold's coat pocket. They never spoke much. Just a nod, a thank you, a smile. But one rainy morning, Harold didn't show up. Hours passed. Elmer waited, holding the rose under his tattered umbrella. Still no Harold. That night, as thunder rolled over the town, Elmer walked 2 miles in the storm to find out the truth. And what he discovered in that dark, marble-floored mansion would not only change Harold's life, it would reveal why he bought that single rose every day without fail. And why he needed Elmer. Story. Elmer had sold flowers on 9th and Willow for 27 years. Rain or shine, he was always there, an old wooden cart, covered with plastic sheets, and a bucket of fresh roses cut from the garden behind his crumbling house. He never raised his voice, never begged for customers, just stood quietly, with hope in his eyes and rough hands gently holding delicate petals. Most people passed him by. Some gave $1. Some didn't even glance. But Harold was different. A tall, well-groomed man in a suit that cost more than Elmer's entire year's income. He worked in one of those big buildings downtown. No one really knew what he did. But he came every day. $20. One rose. Thank you, Harold would say. Elmer never asked questions. It wasn't his place. Some people bought roses for love. Some for apology. Some just needed to feel human for a moment. But one morning, Elmer noticed something odd. Harold's eyes. They were red. Not from lack of sleep, but from crying. The next day, same thing. The third day, Harold's hands trembled when he reached for the rose. Elmer gently asked, "You all right, sir?" Harold paused, then smiled faintly. "It's the only thing keeping me alive." And he walked away. That sentence stayed with Elmer. He began watching more closely. Harold's suits became less sharp, his posture more slouched, his smile weaker. Then came the storm. The wind screamed through the city like it carried bad news. The streets flooded. Umbrellas turned inside out. Still, Elmer stood at his cart. But Harold never came. Elmer waited till noon. Then 2 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, soaked and freezing, he packed up. But something in his chest pulled. Like the roots of his own flowers, being yanked from the soil. That night, as lightning lit the sky, Elmer stood outside a black iron gate Harold had once dropped his business card into. Elmer's flower bucket, in case you ever need anything. Elmer never thought he'd use it. But now, he had to. He rang the bell. No answer. He rang again. Finally, a voice crackled through the speaker. "Who is it?" "Elmer." "The flower man." A pause. Then the gate clicked open. The house was massive. Too clean. Too quiet. Inside, a woman with tired eyes met him. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. "You're the flower man." He nodded. She led him to a room. Inside, Harold sat in a wheelchair, his head leaning to one side, eyes half shut. "Elmer," Harold whispered. "What happened?" Elmer asked, kneeling beside him. The woman spoke softly. "Stroke. 3 days ago. Doctors say it's only a matter of time." Elmer's heart sank. The woman continued. He kept repeating, "The rose, the rose." "Elmer." I didn't know what he meant. Tears rolled down Elmer's cheeks. The woman looked puzzled. "Why does he buy a rose from you every day?" Elmer gently placed a rose in Harold's lap. Then he told the story neither of them knew. 20 years ago, Harold had everything. Money. Power. A family. But one snowy Christmas Eve, He made a mistake. He prioritized a business deal over his daughter's dance recital. When he arrived home, she was already asleep. Her drawing set on the table. It was a rose with the words, "For Dad. My hero." That night, a drunk driver crashed into their car as his wife took his daughter to the store. Both died. Since then, Harold bought a rose every morning. Not for decoration. Not for love. But as an apology. For the one thing he could never fix. And Elmer became the silent priest in Harold's ritual of grief. Back in the mansion, Elmer looked into Harold's eyes. "I'll keep your rose ready every morning. Just in case you feel strong again." Harold blinked. And smiled one last time. He passed away that night. The next day, the mansion gates opened again. But not for Elmer. For dozens of strangers. Men and women from downtown. Workers. Drivers. Janitors. People Elmer didn't know, but Harold had quietly helped all these years. Scholarships. Medical bills. Rent. Harold had no family left. So he left it all behind. To them. And one line in his will was marked in bold. To Elmer, the flower man who reminded me every day that I was still human, thank you. I leave him the house on 9th and Willow. Epilogue. Elmer never moved into the mansion. He turned it into a shelter. For broken hearts. Lost souls. People who just needed a second chance. And every morning at 8 o'clock sharp, he stood outside with a bucket of fresh roses, waiting for someone else who just needed a reason to keep going.